Hi there, I'm David.
And I'm Con. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Camera Peeps. David, we have another new product to talk about.
We have a couple of new products from Hawkwoods out of the UK. We have a hot swap shoe with a V-lock thing on the back.
Yep. And
the star of this show, or the stars of this show, are really their new batteries.
My goodness, look at the size of that thing.
That is a 150 watt hour.
You're kidding
battery.
me. That's a 150 watt hour battery.
And if you can believe the hype, how small it really is. If we go to the next shot, that's standing next to its bigger older brother, an older 150 watt hour battery
from another manufacturer.
Yep. And then here is the 100 watt hour next to the
my goodness, that thing is tiny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
My goodness. So they're light, they're small, they've got new cells in them, obviously, with higher capacity.
Yeah, and I believe they're Sanyo, Panasonic. They're like A-grade cells, so that's a good thing.
Yep, great. So, oh my goodness. So which one is this? This is the 150 watt hour battery on your XD cam.
Yes.
That thing must weigh nothing.
It's bizarre. Well, it will take. We'll get used to these batteries very quickly and easily, I think. But one thing that will take some conditioning is the release button, because
what do you mean?
Well, when Sony originally designed the V-lock batteries, it was all the release was kind of in the centre there. So basically, you have to sort of grab the battery and put your thumb.
It's a little higher than you're normally used to.
We'll get used to it.
Well, look at that. That's a perfect size for the F5 camera.
I think that's a good size, because the batteries that Sony brought out for this camera, which were, I think, designed to charge quickly, and I think they were put out there in certain F5 kits. A lot of guys didn't do it. I didn't do it. But certainly the traditional battery sat a lot higher than that, and we got used to it. But I think this is something you would get used to very quickly.
Yeah. And so this is the 100 watt hour battery on your XD cam. You've got a story to tell here.
Well, look, I thought I've just done tests in here, and I ran the camera continuously in this static environment at XAVC codec. I have a CRT black and white monitor, as opposed to the LED one.
Yep. And
this is the PXWX500, which records to S/S cards.
So there's no spinning mechanisms like a disc. Yep.
No, but 2 hours record time.
You got 2 hours out of the smaller battery.
The small 100
running that big camera.
Yeah. So, the news and current affairs guys, I mean, they could just go in your pockets.
Yeah, you could put that easily in your back pocket. I'm so amazed by the size.
It's fantastic. And I mean, look, I know they're brand new. I don't know how long they will maintain that level of power, but it's pretty impressive.
Wow, 2 hours to run a big camera like that on that small battery. It's unbelievable. So you can also run lights. With these batteries, are they high draw? Because you've told me that your light panel's Astra draws
a lot of power when it's flat out, and because the Astra has a cooling fan as well. And the 100 watt hours, I've learned in the past, I don't even put them on the Astra light panels, because it just doesn't run it flat out. Basically, the battery, it's auto cut out, kicks in and drops it. So the 150 watt hour battery went on there. I did a test with continuous switch on, and I got approximately 1 hour and 8 minutes. And in the old battery, the older traditional one, about half an hour less. So it was about 40 minutes.
Albeit this is a newer battery probably than your older one, but still, for a battery of that size, to get half an hour more power out of your light, that's pretty impressive.
And just before we go to the next one, with the Astra light panels, as you can see there, the V-lock battery slides on horizontally.
Oh yes.
And when that light is up in the air, it's actually very difficult to release the battery and sort of slide it sideways off, and you'd often inconveniently have to sort of lower the light stand, do the battery change,
take the battery off,
and put it back up into the air.
We're now talking about the hot swap plate.
Yes.
Yeah. So So here's an application where you would use it.
Yes.
So you've got 2 batteries now on the camera. So in theory, if you had 2 150-watt batteries with that, what do you call it, a hot swap plate?
Yes, that guy there.
You could have 300 watt hours of powering your camera.
It keeps the camera shorter, physically shorter.
Rather than longer as you stack them.
Yeah, and I don't have any of those batteries, but I guess they potentially can fatigue, especially if they get hit or something. So I probably favour this system. And I think, going on to the next slide, I think the jib, I can't speak for them, but the jib and crane operators, these batteries could appeal to those guys as well.
Why would that be?
Well, they can hot swap, get the benefits of hot swapping without shutting the camera down. So if they are in a live OB situation, the director won't see that monitor go to black. So they can change their batteries. What else? If they are powering lens motors from the Hirosi's on the camera, they won't have to reset the servos. That's another.
Now that brings up an interesting point. I notice from here that one battery's got a D-tap and the other one doesn't.
That's true. The 150 has a D-tap, and I guess they have a very good reason for it. I guess there's more circuitry. I guess it's going to make the battery bigger.
Or maybe they don't want to draw the camera or light plus another device.
Maybe. Because people do push things, but if, say, the news guys got that as a birthday present, then they're probably going to run their top lights as well. And it's probably a safer bet. Going back to these guys, that was for the jib guys. This next one is just a close-up of the pins.
Now, did we mention the draw of the pins?
I believe it's 15 amps.
Oh, on the batteries.
On the battery, sorry, and the pins, these connecting pins.
Yeah, they probably would be about 12 amp draw, like the other device we talked about. So the pins are rated to be high draw amp-wise. So chargers.
These batteries supposedly can be charged on other chargers. I have the few days I've had the batteries. Yes, it definitely charges on the old Sony charger. But
so I don't have to buy a brand new charger for it?
I'm not saying yes or no to that one, because interestingly, over the years, I think I've got about 4 Sony chargers, when they've done deals on batteries and cameras and things. A couple of them don't actually work. That doesn't lock in.
It doesn't lock in?
So I'm not sure if I didn't test, I just didn't go beyond that. But it doesn't actually lock in.
I wonder if it'll still charge even if it doesn't lock in, because that's just a mechanical thing to keep it in place.
We could do some tests. I think if you're going to buy these batteries, I'd seriously consider getting the smaller chargers as well.
That comes with it.
Especially if you travel, because they are a lot smaller. So.
All right. And
there's another Sony charger. That one did work.
Oh, right. So maybe it's that particular charger.
Yeah.
And what's this plate?
Well, look, I just put this in. This is an older Hawk Woods product because this guy has a couple of D-taps out, but it's unregulated, and there's no Hirosi. I'm not fussed about that because the F5 has 2 inbuilt Hirosis. The XD Cam has 1. Here's an older Hawk Woods product which is regulated, does have 2 Hirosi outputs and an off and on switch. If it's a deal breaker, use that. The sound recordists sort of have their systems anyhow.
Because mainly the Hirosis are for the wireless mics attached to the back of the camera.
These are great products. I did some other tests with the 100 watt hour, the Aladdin light LED panel that went for over 2 hours, so that's nice to know, and that's important because in the corporate environment, I pretty much don't take mains power cables anymore. I just do a whole job on V-Lock batteries, so it's that's great, and it reduces the space.
It's good to know you've got new technology batteries now that'll smaller, lighter, and run longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this is a bit of a bold prediction, but it could change the way manufacturers of monitors and external recorders, it could change the way they design their rear interfaces, because here's the old, which model, what's this one? Connie said an L series or whatever it is.
No, I don't think the L series.
It's a Handycam battery, it's a quite a common Sony one, but look, that's it next to the 100 watt hour V-lock, and those of us are running both systems. If we had a choice, we'd probably rather just have one system.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times monitors, especially the 5-inch monitors that particularly have a V-lock instead of the Sony L series sort of mount. If you put a V-lock on them, they're bigger than the 5-inch monitor, and they're big, they're heavy, and you can't put them in a monitor bag because the battery sticks out too much. Having that on that makes perfect sense. Smaller, lighter, and about the same size, if not smaller, than the 5-inch monitor.
Yeah, and I think they are making them, well, someone's making them, are those V-lock brackets that go onto the rear mat box rails. So if you are running a DSLR rig or a mirrorless camera rig, I think that will really appeal to a lot of people. Yeah,
that's great. So you mentioned something about the casings or the batteries are rated to 200 degrees.
I believe they are.
Temperature?
I believe they are.
So does that mean if you're shooting on a hot day and the sun's bearing down that the casing is not going to melt?
I'm not sure, but we're sitting here in quite a comfortable environment. But I guess if that's in the back of the rent-a-car in the desert somewhere,
you're not going to get any warping or melting of the plastic.
It's probably not a bad thing. And also, you're more technical than me, Con, but just the lithium content, rules are changing all the time, and we aren't going to state if you can travel with these. I think it depends on the airline, depends on the country, it depends if it's an international or whatever.
It's always best to get written agreements between the airlines
and for us, we're suggesting that look at the websites for the airlines, look at the Hawkwood's websites, just check we're not saying travel with them. However, they do have flight safe.
They are flight safe batteries.
Yes, and I think that if you are standing at the airport having an argument with a security guy, say, hey, these are made in England, and it says flight safe. Believe them.
Is there a QR code on the back of that? No.
No, there isn't.
No, okay, because sometimes some batteries have that, and you can quickly scan it, and it takes it directly to the website to quickly check that you're not telling porkies. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Now, as far as I'm aware, with flying with lithium batteries, you can take as many as you're allowed to take on board weight-wise.
I'm staying out of that one.
As far as I'm aware, I'll take this because I've got a letter from Qantas to the ACS where ACS members have the privilege of having this letter that gets renewed every year. But as far as I'm aware, you can have as many 100-watt batteries, anything under 100-watt batteries, there's no restrictions. You're only limited to what you can take on board, and I think that's about 7 kilos, so on board luggage per person, and up to 2 spare batteries up to 160 watt hours. So,
but check.
Don't take my word for it. But check.
The guys that travel, these will be fantastic for them. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Now you mentioned something about the LED lights on the hot swap plate.
Well, look, there's no on-off switch.
Okay.
On this guy, as there is on this older product.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's a good reason for that. It's probably got to do with whatever the electronics design or whatever.
And I noticed that hot swap plate does have a D-tap. Is that one for each side, or?
I think it's got two. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's handy.
Actually, I should do this. It's just to finish off the display. But because that is effectively always on, and I'm sure those LED lights don't draw a lot of power.
Yeah.
But I think you probably would get in the habit of taking the batteries off over the weekend or at night. We don't want to get caught out.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that's it. That's a really nice little.
I can't believe their size and capacity. That is amazing. So imagine this new technology of batteries going to permeate the industry and help us all with our backs, making things lighter and smaller.
Well, I just think the manufacturers of the products, the cameras, I mean, it's just going to change everything. I mean, if you've seen that shot on the back of the XD cam, it just looks weird, it looks out of proportion, but I'll happily and quickly adjust to these batteries.
Yeah, we've been throughout our whole careers looking for ways to make things lighter, smaller, easier, especially for handheld work, and I think this takes us another step forward towards that aim. All right, thanks, David. Another comprehensive review on some new gear. I hope people enjoyed this episode of Camera Peeps, and we'll catch you on the next episode.